Oh boy, just got through cleaning up the mess after that big dinner we had. Me and Ma had a plate of taters and some ribs and and some hot biscuits. I fixed off that wood cook stove. Now I'll tell you that the only thing about different to cooking on wood than on gas is you have to get used to the idea there's no knob to turn that fire up and down. So what you got to do, you got to put your oven gauge in first. And it usually takes me about 20 to 25 minutes prep before I put my bread in, or my cakes, or whatever I'm going to cook. I get my stove up to 350 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit in the stove, and then I stick my bread in there and let it cook. And it usually don't take over 15-20 minutes, and you got a hot pan of bread. Cake, same way. Pretty much cake and bread is pretty much alike, except cakes has got sweetener in it. You know, it's made a little different, but pretty close. Different, you know, for the most part. But there's a lot of things you can do with a wood cook stove once you learn how to use it. I enjoy cooking on it in the winter. Now, summertime, it's hot, and most people, well, they don't want to use it anymore now that they got electric and gas and all this modern convenience. But we may find out that, and I haven't got through checking on that yet, about these smart meters and certain types of electrical stuff may be causing our cancer and health problems. I don't know yet. I'm fixing to find out. And if it is, then I'm going to make some changes. That's going. Because I'm one of them old boys that grew up in the swamp bottoms, and I can live off almost nothing on the land. I've done it. It ain't no funny business, but I can do without electric, and I can do without gas. I ain't always had it. I enjoy the convenience of it, yeah, just like anybody else. I like my AC, but it probably really isn't doing us all that good health-wise anyway. It helps me keep my blood pressure down when I can go get cooled off. But running it 24/7 like my ma does, I don't argue with her. I let her have it because she's going to do it come hell or high water or bust. She cannot take any heat whatsoever. She is 77, you know, so what can you expect? You know, she's had air conditioning now since the 80s or a little before the 80s. And whenever I was growing up as a kid, we didn't have all that. We didn't have AC and that much until I was in high school. When I got in high school, we had AC, but Paul wouldn't let us run it, but just in the hot afternoon or at night while we slept for a couple hours, and then he'd shut it off. That's the way he was. He didn't want to pay no high electric bill. Of course, can't blame him on that, but still, my mother and all of us had to suffer through that stuff. I'm talking where we lived, it was 120 some days in the shade. Wasn't no cool and stuff. You stripped down to your long johns, brother. Sometimes you just got up in the middle of the night and went down to the creek and took a frickin' swim with the snakes and the bullfrogs just to get your body cooled down. I ain't kidding you, I grew up in hard times. In the winter time, I think they hit Pa one month for a $25 or $35 gas bill, natural gas bill. Paul disconnected it. He said there'll be no more of that crap, and buddy ain't meant it. He wouldn't pay it. They come and got it, of course. Well, we had to go down the railroad tracks that winter because he'd always wait till the snowballs fly before we go and cut any wood. We could have started in September, but we didn't because he was too busy. Well, he did work oil fields and coal mines a lot and had long hours, but on the weekend or Sunday, we should have went every Sunday and cut some, but he didn't. He waited till the snowballs fly. Then it's cold and you can't get out and get nothing, you know what I'm saying. Bad and you can't get in the bottoms. Or he's too busy. It was always something like that. Until I got grown, that's the way it was too. You know, I mean, until I got to where I could drive and use my truck, I didn't fool around. I cut us up all 15 to 22 rick every year, you know, and lay it up all year long. Because, see, I built barbed wire fences for a living when I got able. For a while I did that, but I also worked in the oil field for, I guess it was about 6 months after I got out of high school, and then Brother Reagan got office, and they had us cap them all to create an oil shortage. There ain't no oil shortage, folks. It's just government propaganda control. Just like these depressions, they're controlled by rich moneyed market bankers. They decide what it is. They can't get the products cheap enough anymore, and they can't get us to work cheap. So in order to get the money out of us, they're breaking everything on purpose. It's not no accident that this economical problem is going on. Your rich bankers of the United Nations, as well as the United States, is all behind this. They could have done something about it if they wanted to. They just don't want to do nothing about it. You know, they don't want to. They got the law for this, a law for that, and a law for something else. You can't even start a small business without the U.S. government's permission. Everything has to go through the U.S. government. And that's bull. It should be bull. The people should be free. If we're free, why can't we open a business and run it? You know what they'll use an excuse of saying? Well, you might let out some bad stuff and poison some folks, and we got to regulate you. But whose shit gets called back at the U.S. At the markets and stuff? It's USDA that gets called back more than anything. These grocery stores, Price Cutter and all, not just picking on Price Cutter and Harps, Walmarts, all of them. Even IGA has had bad meat and called back on products that were bad. And it wasn't the store's fault. It was in the shipping process of it, or it was partly anyway. And partly it was the stuff so old time we get it here to where we're at. It ain't worth a flip sometimes. Sometimes it's all right. You just take a risk. I mean, you buy it and you might get okay with it and you might not. But it's very expensive. Meats of any kind is. When you get talking about beef, chicken, pork, all that stuff costs a lot of money to get now. Back 20 years ago, I could go to town for less than $35, $40, probably buy all I could eat and put in the house. And we raised the rest of what we needed pretty much. We had rabbits, chickens, ducks, horses, cattle, all kinds of stuff, you know, like that. Of course, we didn't eat the horses, but if I had to, and it was what was left to eat, and we was in a bad way, a storm, yeah, I could eat a horse. It don't bother me at all. I'm a survivalist. I'll eat any damn thing. That don't eat me first. I wouldn't like to have to eat a bug or insects that people talk about. But if you're starving to death and you ain't got nothing and that's what's there, then you might risk eating a bug. I mean, your gut, when it hits the backbone, you'll change your mind. You see, I'm Native American and white, Irish, Dutch, and also Cherokee. Cherokee is what my father and my great-grandfathers and my my grandpa's side of the house on my daddy's side of the house were Cherokee and Irish cross. You see, my great-great-grandfather would come from Ireland, and he had 3 brothers, I believe, 2 or 3. One of them went to Texas and started a ranch down there, and during the Civil War time thereabouts, I'm told. And he changed his name to White to keep from getting hung for horse stealing. And then he went to Whitefield, and then it went to Peter Concert. A lot of people don't know some of the secrets, but anyway, I'll get into all that history behind the outlaws. But anyway, I'm just saying that this meat today, getting back to our government crap, this meat today that we get, it's just a risk that when you buy it over the market, and like Cody Lundeen said up there, why, that steel he found out there frozen in the ice was probably fresher and safer to eat than what you get out of your store every day that you don't even know what the heck you're eating. Usually it's already prepared for you, so you never saw it. You don't know what it is. Comes through the drive-through at your local fast food shop, whether it be a hamburger joint or chicken joint or what have you. You don't know if you're going to get anything any good there either, because it's all put out by Tyson's Foods or OK Foods on the chicken. Now the hamburger meats and stuff like that, it comes from different places. Some of it's Argentina beef. We don't even usually get to eat American beef here in the U.S. If they didn't know it, it's USDA inspected, but that don't mean that it's U.S. beef necessarily. I mean, they're supposed to put on there where it come from.